Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. We are just doing some setup here. You might hear my compressor kicking on here. There it goes. It'll be kicking on here every now and then. And looks like Corey has hopped on. What's up, Corey?
Hey, how's it going?
What are you working on tonight?
I'm gonna work on some Eldorado.
Sweet Eldorado.
The Quetzal thing. I don't know how to say this thing's name. So I've got the big ape dude with the tusks and stuff. So
It's a cool.
yeah, that thing.
All right. I am working on some more Relic Knights, and so I've got another batch of Shattered Sword here. These are just blocking out the white, so you're really, unfortunately tonight, I'm not gonna finish all of these, but in addition to that, you may not be able to make out the color blocking that I am doing because I'm painting white. Well, here, maybe you might be able to see it on this on the night itself. Let's see. But a dark background, that might help. But yeah, right now you can't really make out a whole lot, but that's okay. Like I said, we're just blocking out the white here. I'm actually going to do a little bit of a really lightning quick airbrush job on the bird here. So once again, pardon the noise. I'm going to put up a little shield here for my screen because sometimes you don't want the paint flying towards your screen. So, all right. So anyway, once again, welcome to Play It Painted Live, folks. If you are watching, let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. I know that's a topic of contention right at this moment, because we'll get into that in a minute here. It looks like I should have done a little bit more white. Okay. Anyway, so Corey.
Yes.
Since you have joined the show here, do you want to give us a little update on what's been going on with you?
Yeah, as far as life or hobby-wise.
Whatever you feel like talking about.
All right. Well, so I did put the event up for the open game day slash demo day for Relic Knights. That's going on, I believe. I think it's the 28th of September.
Okay.
Last Sunday of the month. And hope
So
everyone.
this is an open demo.
Yeah, open and well, for Relic Knights, open gaming and just demos. So anyone interested in the game or just has any thoughts on it or just wants to come check it out, feel free to stop by. It's from noon to 7 at Paradise. And the store opens at noon and it closes at 7, so from open to close, basically. Granted, it probably won't start right at noon, but I'll be there at noon setting up, so if anyone wants to stop by, or just feel free.
Okay, so it's noon to 7 at Paradise Games in
Vista.
is that Vista or Oceanside?
I believe it's Vista.
Vista, okay. Cool. And that's going to be Sunday the 28th.
Yes. I actually created the event, and I posted it on SoCal, the tabletop gaming, and then I also posted it a couple smaller groups along with Soda Pop, SoCal Soda Pop. So far I've got like 4 or 5 RSVPs, so it should be a good time.
That's good. Nice. Is there going to be any? We're doing any prizes or giveaways or anything like that?
Not this one. My goal with this is just to get people interested in the game, or just get like a feel for how it's going to be in this area. Just because I don't really have a lot of push for anything else over at Vista for anything Ninja.
Okay.
So we're gonna try this. We'll see how this goes. And if I get enough support or enough people to show up, I think maybe in maybe November time or October, November. I might try to run a small like achievement league.
Oh, cool. Okay.
What you guys to that other game. So I might try to do that. See if I can
Sounds
get
like
some
fun.
prize support. Yeah, so it should be good. I just want this one to be like a feeler for who's out there in the area that wants to give it a try, and then from there I'll try to push it more and more depending upon who wants in on it. So
Okay. I like that. Sounds, sounds like that should be a good time.
yeah,
Anything else new with you, Corey? All right.
not really. Um, just life, things that happen.
Just
Um,
like.
yeah.
What about last weekend? You want to talk about what happened last weekend?
Oh, for Saga.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. That
because
was
that was the
awesome.
thing.
Um, I really enjoyed myself. Of course, I dressed up in Viking attire. Um, I got wiped out first game. I got killed by Yu Yao. Second game, I ended up
Uh huh.
KOing the other guy, which wasn't the object of it, but it happened. Um, and then the third game, I ended up drawing. It was really close. He killed like everything I had for Hearthguard, but I kept killing his levies. So we ended up tying in the end. But it was good. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that it gets to happen again.
Okay. Cool. Hey, I got a question for you. Is
Yeah.
my compressor too loud? Can you?
No, it's not. It's
Are
not
you
bad.
having? Okay.
It's
Let's see
not. You
what
can hear it,
is.
but it's not. It's not obnoxiously loud.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah,
Okay.
it was good seeing everybody. It was a really good time.
Yeah, yeah. Sagas was a lot of fun. Just want to give a special shout out to Phil Howard for running that
Yeah.
event. Yeah, it was a good time, and I got to play Ringer in the third round. That was
Yeah, you
fun.
did.
I got to play against David J. Blood, and um, got was getting beat down pretty early in that game, and turned it around a little bit towards the end there. But it ended up being a tie, but he still had me on victory points because he was killing a lot of Franks, and so that was fun. So yeah, so with Saugus being over, um, we're into our off season as far as cons, and we're working on we're just actually kind of just working on store events right now. Relic Nights obviously being one of the main pushes that we've got going on, and that's probably not going to change anytime soon. But we are still, running events for some of the other games that we enjoy. Saga being one of them. So, any any thoughts about what you might do differently with your Saga army, or are you planning on building or adding to what you already have?
Yeah, I found out my army's illegal.
All right.
Uh,
What's the matter with your army?
so I have levies with javelins, and I can only have levies with bows or slingshot things, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I have them with javelins, and I cannot. So that was wrong.
Yeah. If you look at the in the book under each army section, they'll tell you what you can arm each type of
Yeah.
basically what you can arm each type of troop with. So, and you were running what again? Were you running just regular Vikings or Jobs Vikings?
I'm regular Vikings with Ragnar as my leader. He's a special.
Okay. So you ran Ragnar, and then what else did you have for your force?
I had two Earth Guard units, and I put them into one. They had
Okay.
just regular stuff. And then I had a unit of warriors with just sword and shield. I had a unit of warriors with bows, and then I had levies with javelins, which was illegal. So I'm just going to turn them into levies with spears. Oh, I can't even do that actually because they have to have bows. So
Okay.
I might just turn those 12 guys into either some Earth Guard or just some extra warriors with maybe javelins or something like that. We'll see.
Okay, that makes sense.
instead of
Cool.
buying. Well, and I've got other stuff coming off the opening for me. So
Okay. So, so you may do a little bit of modification on Saga here, and I see you're working on Hell Dorado tonight. Do you have
yeah,
any plans to play any of that anytime soon?
if
Or you
people
just want
want
to
to,
paint?
I am totally down to play. But me, I just play painted. I don't have anything else that needs to be painted right now, or that's ready to be
That's
painted.
kind of a good
So
problem to have, though. I mean,
yeah,
if you're into just
I
stuff that you're painting for fun, that's kind of cool.
yeah, I want to get my Relic Knight stuff done, but I want to base everything first, and I need to get some green stuff before I can do that. So
I
um,
see.
yeah, it's gonna be a little bit till that comes in the mail. So
Well, that's okay. I mean, I kind of have the same issue here. I'm missing some of the base inserts, so like on this guy here, I just put him on cork for now, because then
yeah,
I can at least block out his colors and then come back and fix him when my
for that.
base inserts come in. So cool. Okay. So let's see, what else do we got going on this weekend? Strategicon GameX. So this is the third GameX. I'm sorry, the Strategicon Gateway. This is the third Strategicon of the year. This is the final Strategicon of the year. Unfortunately, I can only go for one day, but I am throwing a Relic Knights tournament the one day that I will be there. So looking forward to that. This is a 50-point tournament. However, it's a beginner's tournament, so we're only going to be playing to 6 points, which is kind of crazy. The games can be over pretty quick if you're playing with somebody who can score very quickly. I guess one of the main threats there might be Cersei's Speed Circuit, because they can score in a flash, and I found that out last night. I kind of did a test drive on them and found out that they can put up points in a hurry. So yeah, so it's going to be 3 rounds at Strategicon. This starts on Saturday, the 30th, and we're going to be starting at noon. 3 rounds, 50 points, and I'm playing to 6 points. So I know the description online says 8 points, but I blocked it out for time and figured that, if a lot of the players are new, and we know they will be because everybody at this point is pretty new to Relic Knights, figure that we want to cut it even shorter to that. So probably not going to be the most competitive tournament that we've run, but you know what? Who cares? This is kind of our one of our first public events for Relic Knights, and I'm really looking forward to it. So what do you think, Corey?
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Are you otherwise preoccupied, or?
I just hope I got a paper towel so I can still clean.
Okay.
What was the question?
I was just thinking, what do you think about a 6-point tournament for Relic Knights? It's super short games.
Yeah, super short game, especially you're still doing 50 points, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna be a really short game. I think it'll make people have to think about what they're gonna really do, because if they push someone where they don't want them to, you could lose a unit pretty quickly, especially with a lot of points on that field. So.
Yep.
Um,
And you've got, they're going to be mostly new players. For the scenarios being, kind of a difficult thing for new players to keep track of.
yeah.
I'm gonna flip 2 cards for the entire tournament. So I will flip for each round. I'll flip 2 cards, and that'll be the scenarios for the round.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, looking forward to that. That should be pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, all right. What else is going on here locally? Yeah, it's we're out of our con season, so it's really just time to buckle down, play some games at the local stores. Strategicon is going to be the last of those. So that's all that's going on, and I thought tonight what we might talk about is something that I posted on SoCal Tabletop today that generated some discussion. And this is an article. This is a blog post from somebody in Chicago who runs I guess a skirmish wargaming club out in Chicago. And this person had something really interesting to say about painting and the hobby. And actually, what he had to say, at least from the vocal responses, did not seem to be very popular. Do you know the article I'm talking about, Corey?
I didn't read it, but from the comments that I saw, I pretty much understood exactly what it was about.
Okay, so you got the gist of what it's about.
Yes.
I can try to sum it up, but honestly, I don't know if I've got this guy's point correct. But I can at least relay what I got from that article. Because I first read that article and I was kind of, in that boat where, uh-oh, this guy's, trying to stir up the hornet's nest here by telling people that, painting as part of the hobby, he kind of leads in off a very controversial thing by saying that painting sets you apart from other people in the hobby. Basically saying, the people that paint are better than, are what's the word? Are more invested, not better, but more invested in the hobby than people that don't paint. And they should have, and ultimately it's better to paint in the hobby than not paint. I think that's kind of what he was saying. It wasn't the nicest way. He didn't have the nicest way of putting it, and that offended a lot of people. But there are some merits in what he's saying. I just I think there are pluses and minuses to that. So when I first read the article, I was like, okay, cool. This guy's basically saying, if you paint, you're more involved in the hobby. But then he kind of goes on to say, well, if you're gonna, there's a standard to be maintained, and if you're gonna be whatever, you're gonna be a slightly higher status than somebody else that's not painting, and I think that's the part that didn't sit well with me and didn't sit well with probably a lot of other people that read the article. But I don't know if we are maybe misconstruing what he's saying. What do you think about the whole painting and the hobby thing, Corey?
Well, you know me, I'm a big I like the games more than I like to paint.
Okay.
So, I mean, I paint because for the games that I teach, I have to. So, I don't want to say I paint for that reason alone, but I believe it's game are interesting. Just from like an aesthetic point of view, like you just get to look at like nice miniatures instead of the standard gray or just the plain white or black that someone finds and then doesn't do anything with.
Okay.
So for me, that's one plus that I do like about having painted models is that it just makes the game a lot better as far as looking at the game. I don't think that painting your models makes you any better of a person than someone that doesn't. Some people like to play games, some people like to paint.
I don't think he's making, well, that's part of it. I don't think he's making any personal indictments on anybody. I think what he's trying to say is that by painting, you are somehow involving yourself more in the hobby and therefore are more invested in the hobby than somebody that isn't painting. And I had quite a few different conversations with people about that, because it was like, well, there are plenty of people that are invested in, and the term that can throw people off is hobby. So for the purposes of this discussion, we'll just say the hobby is all inclusive. In other words, it's building, painting, playing, strategizing, the whole nine. We'll call that hobby. Okay, and within the hobby, you have two different major activities. So you have the gaming portion, which you mentioned. That's really where your leanings are, and gaming is obviously the physical act of playing, strategizing, and so forth. But then you have we'll just call it the craft for this purposes of this discussion. And the craft would be the whole modeling, building, painting aspect. And I think what he's saying is that because if you paint, you're actually more involved in the craft. It's not he may not necessarily mean that you are more involved in the hobby, because somebody pointed out to me that, hey, you might have somebody that's a really good player and really into strategy and list building and whatever, and that person may be way more invested in the overall hobby than somebody that just happens to be painting and playing games. And he's right about that. If he split the log that way, he's right. So I don't know what if the author is saying that you're more involved in the overall hobby, or if he's saying you're more involved in the craft side of the hobby if you paint. To me, it would make more sense if you're more involved in the craft side, because I don't think you can make a broad, sweeping statement about somebody's involvement in the overall hobby just because they may or may not paint. What's your take on that?
It's tough to say. I think I don't. It seems like you can be judging a lot as far as like on people based on the article. Because I mean, for me, I know a lot of people some people don't like to paint just because, like for me, a while ago, I just wouldn't paint because I was never good at it. I wouldn't want to throw models out there that had just like a couple coats of just crap. And then everybody see all these other people with these nice models, and I'm like, well, this kind of sucks. I mean, sure, I have stuff that's painted, but it's just not good. So for me, for a long time, I just wouldn't paint because my stuff just wasn't good. So for me, I was all about playing the games, but painting slowly started sweeping into like my daily life of have to have this stuff done.
But you still kind of have, I mean, just by what you just said there, you still kind of carry an obligation regarding painting. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Do you have fun painting, or I mean, how does that work out for you?
I don't like this. I love doing this as far as with the show, because it gives me some kind of. Sometimes it gives me interaction, whether if I'm on the show or just listening.
Okay.
And it kind of makes me sit down because it's like one night out of the week, maybe 2 to 3 hours, where I can just sit down, do nothing but paint.
Okay.
So for me, this is kind of my time to just unwind from the week, paint.
Sure.
For me, it's like an obligation now. Like I committed to Ninja, and I told them, hey, I want to demo your stuff, and if in order for me to do that, I have to have painted stuff. Then that's what I have to do. So.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Me personally, if I didn't, now I used to paint sort of obligatorily back when I played 40K, because it was a big deal for me to, my brother and I, that's what we did. We always wanted to field painted armies, so we painted all our 40K armies, and that's just kind of how we played. But we also didn't enjoy it. At least I didn't. I didn't enjoy painting 40K armies. I didn't enjoy painting hundreds and hundreds of models, the same color, and whatever. But it's when I went into smaller games, Blood Bowl, skirmish games, that I really started to enjoy the painting itself. And these days, after leaving 40K, after leaving the larger games in favor of skirmish games, I probably wouldn't paint if I didn't enjoy it. It is a requirement for running miniature games for volunteer companies like Ninja or what have you. But I don't know how much of it I would be doing. A lot of guys I know want to just have painted demo crews, and that's it. And they don't plan on painting anything themselves. And you know what? I think that's fine. Because why should you Um, other than a requirement or two, why should you make yourself paint any more than that requirement if you really don't enjoy it?
Yeah. Um, so for me, I I look at it completely different. Um,
Okay.
it's like so from what you just said, like some people just paint like the one or two demo sets that they need, and then nothing else matters. It's just they need to get that done because that's the requirement.
Yeah.
So for me, that kind of says, I don't want to say anything like bad about it, just because I'm not into that kind of stuff. But to me, it's like you said, hey, I will do this for you,
Yeah.
and you're putting their name out there. So let's use Ninja for example, since that's the only one that I do, or I've ever been a
Hmm.
part of. I said, hey Ninja, I want to volunteer for you, and they said, sure, you go ahead. You're gonna represent Ninja. If I'm
Okay.
representing Ninja and I don't have things besides my demo set painted, to me that just like outside of like if you or me just come over and play a couple games, um, but if I go to a store and I'm representing Ninja and someone else your stuff and nothing's painted, it looks
Well,
I kind of look
sure.
at that as like
You're
you're
saying
not.
if you were in an official capacity, right?
Yeah, to me that just kind of says
Okay.
like that just um it doesn't seem like you really committed to what you said that you were gonna do. I mean, sure that their minimum
Okay.
requirement is just having those starter sets done or the demo sets done, but
Hmm.
to me it just seems kind of like you're putting Ninja's name out there, and you need to represent Ninja. Don't
Okay.
just have.
So you would say, so you're saying you would extend it out not just to demos, but anytime you're say representing in an official capacity, or are you
Yeah.
saying just anytime period?
Um,
Like
I
anytime you're playing like say Relic Knights in public, are you saying that as a ninja card you should always have something painted, or are you saying if you're gonna say attend my event later in the year, you should bring painted? Which is it? Or yeah, that's what I'm asking. I think that's what I'm asking.
Okay. So what I think you're trying to ask me is, I'll just go with this.
Okay.
I think no matter what, if you're representing Ninja and you're saying, "Hey, I'm here as a Ninja representative," you need to be
Yeah.
playing with stuff that's painted. Um,
Okay.
I feel like unless okay, so like when we do the once a quarter games over at Brandon's house, if it's just a couple people,
Hmm.
like a group of people hanging out, I don't have a problem if somebody pulls out some unpainted minis. Um,
Well, no, if you do it right.
Yeah, or
I
myself.
mean,
In that case, myself. Because we've played some
okay.
games where I don't have a painted model, and I'm just like, hey, I have one model that's not painted, and
Yeah.
it's gonna screw up the entire way I look at the entire game. Because I have
Okay.
the only one painted model that's not. Um, so for like just like outside of like not representing Ninja, just like group of friends hanging out at someone's house, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're gonna be out there representing Ninja, as far as being like, hey, I'm a Ninja, I'm trying to get this game pushed out there, and I'll have painted models. To me, it just kind of looks bad. It's just like what
Okay.
I mean. I don't know if people really care about it, but to me, I do.
That,
It's
that
just
sounds fair to me.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can't say anything
Okay. So
about that
that.
right now because I don't have anything painted for Relic Knights. But
Mhm.
I've been playing Relic Knights all the time. I just said, hey, I'm the ninja here. But when I say that, I just feel so bad about myself. I'm just like, there's no way I can represent this game with everything that's not painted. Um,
Okay.
but that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's a
I feel
good
like
point.
if you're gonna take on that responsibility of representing something, I feel that you need to be able to represent it like all the way, or don't
Sure.
represent.
Okay. That totally makes sense.
And I
Cool.
don't know if that's kind of like a stuck up kind of way to look at it or not, but that's just
I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
I think everybody's gonna kind of, when people sign up for volunteer programs, um, a lot of people are, well, I guess we'll just call them, their leanings are more towards the gaming side, and they want to do as little painting as they absolutely have to. I don't necessarily think there's that's wrong because that's what the person enjoys. I do agree, though, that Ninja is asking its volunteers to hold up certain standards, and I think in situations where that is being requested, and like you said, you're the person that signed up for it, then I think you should really stick to that. You should stick to the standard that they set. But that said, if you're not representing them in an official capacity, like you said, if you're you're at somebody's house or whatever, and you just want to break out some models and play, I don't really see an issue with just breaking out what you have and not worrying about the presentation quality of it when you do that. So I think that's what you're saying.
Yes,
Okay.
You pretty much summed up exactly what I said.
Cool. Okay. Cool. So
I used a bajillion more words than you did, so I made it probably way more complicated than you.
Okay, so I am actually cleaning a little clog out of my airbrush here. I'm gonna load some comments and see who we have watching. So again, thanks everybody for tuning in to Play It Painted Live. If you are watching, let us know what you're painting, or here we go, what you should be painting. Dun dun dun. Oh no, so many obligations. Okay, I knew those javelins were bullshit, Corey. From Ghost Bear. Yes, so it's clearly somebody that you played in the tournament that says that your javelins were bullshit.
I didn't even get to use my javelins. Not even gonna lie. I think it was against you now, and I threw them once.
Oh well. Yeah, I'm gonna be. I will in this off season here. I probably will be building a bit more Saga, and then I may actually sell that generic army that I have for Saga, because for the tournament we brought Phil and I brought some loner armies for folks that want to play that didn't have painted models. This is maybe the only event that we've ever thrown that's ever required fully painted, but I think I think that this particular event, was kind of a special event for Saga, and we did, we had a lot of official support there, so I thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, as far, the cool thing was that, if people did want to play that didn't have painted models or access to painted models, that we were ready to provide some for folks that still wanted to play. All right.
Sorry. So real quick, that was Jeremy.
Okay.
Jeremy was the one that commented on the javelins being bullshit.
Okay.
He wasn't in the tournament, but we played a couple games together.
That is funny. Anyway, couple of observations about this. I mean, I know for many years of experience here that that people in general like to look at painted miniatures. It's part of the reason why they get attracted to these games in the first place. And for some of us, it's like the main reason why we get attracted to some games and shun others. But it's kind of a to each their own type deal. And it can be I guess one thing that I've noticed though, and maybe this might just be my limited view of the whole thing, because I like painting and I paint everything. But I noticed that when sometimes you can just be like saying, "Hey, I'm enjoying my painting," or whatever, and if we saw more painted stuff, some people take that as a personal affront. To like, "Hey, what do you mean?" Well, like we're calling certain people out. What do you mean you want to see more painted stuff? I don't have time, yada yada. You can't tell me what to do. And there's kind of this like knee-jerk defensive reaction. Like, it's a very easy thing. If you want to rile up some gamers, all you really have to do is say, "Hey, maybe you guys should paint something," and people will throw a fucking fit. And I don't know what to think about that. Sometimes it's funny to me. Sometimes it's sometimes it's unintentional, and it's like, okay, no, that's not what we meant. This guy here, though, writing the article, I mean, he was totally okay with rattling some cages. What do you think, Corey?
I'm sorry, I was pretty focused on painting this gray.
Oh, it's cool. I
Um,
will just continue.
okay, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's and I don't know if maybe that's my poor perception of what's going on, but it seems to me that there is sort of this inherent defensiveness when you bring up, you know, painted painting or painting models to people that maybe don't do a lot of painting uh, or something of that nature. Then it becomes, hey, this is my hobby too. I get to enjoy it how I want. And you know what? I think that's fine. I don't think anyone's saying anything to the contrary of that. Um, but there's just going to be times and places where I think there are times and places where it's cool to have all painted or even request that people bring painted miniatures. Because, overall, in my opinion, again, that is a major part of the hobby is these little um, toy guys that you collect and paint. Um, for me, it's part of the one of the main reasons why I play this and I don't play, say, a Euro game. Um, and I'm not knocking anybody who does play a Euro game, but I guess what I'm saying is when I'm playing a Euro game, there are certain expectations I have for that to there. And let's play test sound.
Well,
Okay.
hello.
There you go. Hey, Corey. Were you here this whole time, or was I just talking to myself?
I didn't hear you at all until just now.
Interesting. So it was like dead air there for a few minutes. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I was like explaining the meaning of everything.
oh, not the meaning of life.
Well, no, not life, just more
Oh.
important stuff, everything. But yeah, I don't know. It is. I think there is something to be said about encouraging people to paint or to enjoy painting. I always take it from the standpoint of I want to give people opportunities to enjoy painting, but I don't ever want to force anyone to paint. And it's a difficult line to toe because you come off, you've got I've got this brand that we call Play It Painted, and where we really try to encourage people to paint. Sometimes that's viewed as like, oh, they're painting snobs, or they're Nazis, or they're trying to make us paint, when really all we're trying to do is just encourage people to find opportunities to paint. And if they don't enjoy it, that's fine. I mean, that's we even have a commission service for people that maybe enjoy playing painted miniatures, but don't enjoy painting them themselves. The whole goal is to try to provide a comprehensive way to enjoy the entire hobby of miniature gaming, and part of that involves painting the miniatures, or playing with painted miniatures, I should say, because playing with painted miniatures, I think most people can agree, enhances the experience of playing the miniatures game. Would you agree with that, or no, Corey?
Agree with that. Do I think it makes the game any better? No. Do I think it makes it a little more enjoyable? In a way, yes, because it's something to look at. It's not just a great model that's just kind of there. I understand if you don't like to paint. I used to never like to paint. I don't mind it. I'll do it when I need to, or if I'm feeling bored. So I do think it adds something to the game when you do have painted models. It just looks like it fits for some reason.
Okay. Right. I mean, because there's an immersive portion to miniature gaming. You do have at least some sort of attachment to the pieces that are being put on the board. Like, a lot of us purchase these pieces because we like the look of the pieces, or we might even like the story behind the piece, and the visual representation of that piece is important to some of us. So having that as a means to enjoy the game can be somewhat important. Okie doke. So,
there's one thing I would like to add, if it's okay with you.
Okay.
So I know, like, Warhammer, they do like the hardcore. I think that's what they're called, or the hardcore tournaments, where the only way to be in that tournament is to actually have a painted army. It's not stopping you from getting into other tournaments or anything, but if you want to play on that next level of just painted armies, it kind of makes that, like, if you really want to play that at that level, it makes you have to have painted stuff.
Sure.
I like the fact that they do that, because they offer that, that experience of, if you really want to play this at this level, then you need to paint stuff. I think it adds a little different. So it's not something you can play in tournaments, but it's something you're playing at a certain level. That if you want to get to that level, you need to have to paint your stuff. I think it adds a little bit more to it.
Yeah, and I think War Machine, from what I recall, War Machine was one of the first of the major manufacturers to allow unpainted miniatures in their official tournaments. Before, when it was really just GW, they always required painted miniatures. Love or hate GW, that's what they did. And Privateer, it's a double-edged sword, because Privateer is saying, well, you don't really need painted miniatures, and I think that drew a lot of people to the game, and it overall, I think it kind of um, enhanced the competitive playground. If you are a hardcore competitive Warm Wars player, then it gave you more opportunities. It gave people in general more opportunities to participate in competition. Um,
Yeah.
but the I, I think the opposite end of that, the drawback to allowing unpainted stuff is that that now becomes the LCD, the least common denominator, and you have people. You have a large proportion of people who are like, oh, I don't have to paint. I'm not going to paint, and that's not in of itself. That's not a bad thing. If you have a lot of players and most of the players don't paint, well, guess what? I mean, not a lot of the people that actively game, may not necessarily be artistically inclined or inclined to paint. All we're saying from our side is, it's good to give people opportunities to try it, because I was not a painter. I didn't feel that I was a very artistically inclined person when I got into miniature gaming. And when I started to learn how to paint, it was very encouraging for me, because it was like, oh, I do have, I can do something. I can actually get liquid on these models, and it can be an artistic outlet, talent or no talent. That's another aspect too that I want to touch on, and that you kind of mentioned in your own story, Corey, was that you mentioned that you would show up and see these people's beautiful models and everything, and feel that your stuff was not up to snuff, and so you were not encouraged to paint. That's an interesting thing, because a lot of the pro paint crowd, pro painting, not professional painting, but I'm pro, like, for painting. A lot of the pro painting crowd says, hey, no, if everybody, or if a majority of people showed up to their regular games with painted miniatures, that hopefully that would inspire more people to paint. And there's evidence of both of these situations occurring. You can have people that feel more encouraged to paint, that show up for their regular gaming, or their tournament gaming, or their organized play, which is fantastic if you have a majority of people that really that make the effort to paint. Conversely, though, you may have some folks like you that show up and it's like, oh, my stuff isn't up to snuff, or worst case scenario, somebody like you could show up, and if let's say the resident snobs say, well, Corey's stuff is might be painted, but it's not painted well enough. I don't want to game with him. I don't know that happens all that often, but I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure it's happened. I've never seen it. But anyways, would you care to expand on that whole thing? Would you say that your self-consciousness, was that perpetuated? I mean, did somebody else bring that on, or is that self-perpetuated?
This was so. I was I want to say about like 16 or 17 when I started getting into War Machine.
Okay.
So there was one guy who was the press ganger, and a lot of people that were getting into it had all these models, and they were painted really nicely. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. I'll paint some stuff. But then I'd show up and I would just like look at these guys' stuff, and I'd be like, holy crap! Like, man, do I suck at this. I don't want to say they just they didn't recommend don't paint your stuff, just leave it the way it is. It looks better with a base coat. But
yeah,
to me, it's just me. If I don't think I'm gonna have good enough stuff where it doesn't match like everyone else's, where I just have I can't color inside the lines. It's not something I'm gonna use.
Right. And you know what? You're not the first person to tell me that. I've had a few people come up to me and say, "Oh well, I want to paint more. I just don't feel like I'm very good at it, and I bring painted models into the shop or whatever, and I would just feel embarrassed that my models weren't as nice as the other guy's models."
Yeah, that's kind of the way I was. And I was young and stuff, so I was like, oh gosh, these guys are like 20, like late 20s, 30, under 18-year-old kid coming to play this game.
Now, let
You
me
know,
ask a follow-up question here. If let's just continue on with your example. If you ran into a person, let's say you're at the store, right, and you don't
okay.
feel your models are up to snuff or whatever, and then there's a guy in the store that has, like, in your mind, some of the best models you've ever seen. Um, have you ever struck up a conversation with that guy? And do you find in general that guys that paint to a high standard, do you find that they turn their nose up at you or anything like that? I mean, have you ever had negative experiences with with folks maybe judging your painting or your effort?
Um, so like I said, it was when I was younger. So I feel like a lot of people, when they see some young kid coming in, they're not just gonna be like a complete ass to me.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, hey, you have to, why'd you do that? Like here's my nicely out of the line painted model. Um,
Hmm.
how can I do better? And they'd give me some pointers and stuff, but granted, I didn't have a lot of money to go out and buy paints, the fancy stuff,
Sure.
not fancy stuff, but the stuff that I needed to actually make
But
it look good.
but
But
these
also,
guys,
they would help me out. They would give me some advice like, hey, try this, try this. Um,
hmm
and then it just came down to whether or not like I had either the time or if I had the right materials. I think for the longest time I had like two paintbrushes.
when
Um,
they when these guys give you advice like that, do you feel does it make you feel more comfortable bringing out, showing them some of your painted stuff, or do you still feel the same way, like my stuff still isn't good enough, I don't want to show it to anybody?
I think it was a couple, so I didn't get to go out a lot, but when I did, I would be like, hey, I tried what you said. Here's what I got. What do you think? And then they would be like, it's getting better and stuff. So that
Hmm.
was a little encouraging, but then I started growing up, and I had to get a job, so it took like a lot. Didn't have a lot more time to go and play a lot of the games. So as kind of time went on, I kind of got further and further away from it
Okay.
until I hit about 20, and then I went back and I started playing some more stuff.
Okay.
Um, so by that time, 20 hit, and then next year I was in the Marine Corps. So all that stuff that I kind of learned had kind of gone away. Um,
Hmm.
but a lot of the guys I find like if you say, hey, I'm trying to get into this, what can I do? Um, I know a lot of guys will actually willing to help you. Um, I've actually run across that before. I was doing a lot of painting, and someone came up to me or came up to one of my friends and was like, "Hey, I'm looking to start painting. I got this, this, and this. What else do I need?" And he was like, "No, don't talk to this guy. He's been painting. He can probably help you more than I can."
Okay.
So that was pretty cool because I had
Okay.
someone that had no idea coming up and asking me how to paint things. I'm like, "Holy crap! What? This is different." Um, but I try to give them the best advice I can as far as like what I do, how I start. Um, I was like, just don't get discouraged because when I was younger, I got discouraged in doing stuff, and um, now I just kind of paint because not that I have to, but I feel better that I do. Um, and it felt kind of nice to give that advice that I was kind of
Okay.
given. Um,
Okay.
but
That's good. I mean, that is kind of a validating thing to have happen. That's kind of cool. And I think we get that. I will share my own personal experience here with regards to the kinds of people that you see that criticize your painting or your lack of painting. This is just my experience. I know everybody else's mileage will vary or whatever, but I've I've gotten a lot of criticism on my own painting whenever I take models to the store, and I don't think my models are great looking, but I think they're okay. I mean, I think they're fair enough to be reasonably acceptable by most standards.
I
But
would
that
say
said,
they're more than acceptable.
I still hit a lot of criticism. I'm sorry.
I would say they're more than acceptable. I love it. I love the stuff you do.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and you get compliments about your models and stuff, and that's fantastic, and always appreciate that. But you still get criticized for the quality of your models. Now, here's the funny thing. This has just been my experience, but I've noticed that the people who are most critical of my painting are typically the guys that either uh, don't paint themselves to a high standard. And when I say that, I say by the definition by their own definition, they don't paint to a high standard. But they will often come up to me and say, "Oh, well, you painted it this color. It should really be this and this, and you messed up right there." So they're either that guy, or they're the guy that doesn't paint at all. Have you ever had that?
Um, Not really. The only criticism I've ever got was on one of my tables that I built.
Okay. Yeah, and oddly, do you know if it was was it somebody that built their own tables, or was it a guy that doesn't build his own terrain?
I have no idea.
Okay. It's been my experience that the guys that are like the most critical of stuff, or the guys that claim to be experts on shit in the gaming community, are usually the biggest freaking posers out there. For real. I mean, a lot of time, like, these guys get on, they'll hop online, they'll hop on the Facebook group, well, it should be this and this and this, and my experience is this, and they're not playing. They're not playing, they're not painting, they're freaking liars. And with regards to people that criticize other people's painting, I've noticed that it's usually like the smallest, saddest guy there, like the guy that's not painting anything, is more than willing to tell you what you did wrong on your paint job. And then when you ask him, hey, why don't you break out your models and show us, where you're coming from, they're not going to do it because they're posers.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if you find the guy in the shop that has the coolest looking miniatures, in your opinion, my experience has been that guy will always talk to you, and that guy will always, pretty much always, will at least share, even if he's a total prick, because occasionally you'll run into a really good painter that's a total prick, and we're not just talking about me, but because I'm not a good painter. But anyway, even the biggest pricks, I guess, that are painters will still talk to you about what they painted, how they painted a model, because it's important to them. Their process is important to them. So they'll still share with you, what they do with the models. But most of the time, they're super, super friendly and helpful anyway. I mean, I paint a lot, and I love to talk about painting. That's part of the reason why I have this show, is because I enjoy talking about painting. So I think what I'm getting at is that if we're afraid of getting criticism or whatever in the local shops, let's just be aware of where these people are coming from, because these guys are assholes, for one, the guys that do stuff like that. But they're also generally posers. They're also generally not even what they claim to be. They're not experts. They have, most of the time I've found that they have way less experience painting than you do, but they're all the more willing to explain to you what you're doing wrong. And I think it's garbage. And it exists it exists because there's the internet, and because gamers worship perceptions on the internet. There's lots of guys that want to put out a persona that, hey, I'm a badass gamer, or I'm a fun guy, or whatever, or I'm a leader of the community, or what have you. And a lot of times these guys are just full of shit, for real. And if you just call them on it, hey, you're full of shit, then if more people called them on it, then maybe we wouldn't be dealing with as much of it. But regarding the painting, I've taken my licks. I've taken my fair share of criticism for my paint jobs, and it's always been guys that frankly, are in no real position to criticize.
Yeah.
You also get the guys. I had a guy come up to me. This is a funny one. I had a guy come up to me and go, "Oh, well, Octave stuff is painted, and it's always," and it was like a backhanded compliment. He was like, "His stuff is always painted. You will always show up with painted stuff, and it's because Octave has no life." And I was like, "Okay, that's your opinion on it. Maybe by your standards, I don't have a life." But then his friend was like, pointed out, "Yeah, but you're jobless and you're not married and you don't have a family." So
Got him,
okay.
Coach.
So yeah, I mean, just I guess for my comment is for the people out there that do suffer criticism or they suffer, any type of bullying from people based on their gaming or their gaming habits. Just be aware that these guys are they're just bad. They're bad people. They're bad people. There's such thing as being able to criticize somebody in a positive manner and say something meaningful to somebody. But with regards to painting, and I totally understand why some people are really intimidated to break out painted models or to show painted models because of what you're talking about. You feel self-conscious about it, but there are people out there that are willing to jump on you or criticize you because for whatever reason they don't feel your painting is up to snuff. And I think that's garbage. I think if you put forth any effort at all with painting, I'm going to applaud you for it, me personally, because it's like, hey, to me, that's still better than seeing an unpainted miniature, because that's somebody's effort and that's somebody's representation of their army or their warlord or whatever. And I don't know. I'm a fan of that.
I agree with what you're saying.
So, anyway, I'm painting in the black bases here, and I do it with airbrush, and then I'll come in and get the details later. Let me open up Q&A because I totally forgot to do that. We've got some Q&A, and I totally missed it. Holy crap. Okay. Phew, I thought the silence was from my connection. That's from Justin. What's up? You did all that from Rainbow Dash. How do you do that? Awesome. You have great talent. Thanks, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is just this part of it to me is just blocking out the colors. This is 3 days from now. This stuff will be painted, but for right now, we're just blocking out colors. So, want to thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting, and I'm going to check YouTube comments again here. Wow, not a lot of comments tonight, just some compliments, which I appreciate. But yeah, it's the whole painting thing with miniature gaming is interesting because it's almost like a lot of us do get into it for that, but there seems to be this fear of us imposing preferences on each other, right? The people that paint, for the people that don't paint, the fear is the people who paint will act like snobs and try to force them to paint. For the people that don't play competitively, the fear is that people that play competitively will force the meta into a heavy competitive area and force everyone to sort of take only competitive units or models. So that's just kind of a natural consequence in gaming, and sometimes it's founded and sometimes it's not. Let me ask you about that latter situation there, Corey. Since
okay.
we're, because I consider that an analog to the whole paint snobbery thing, is the competitive snobbery. A lot of people don't talk about competitive snobbery. It's sort of like, let's say, Corey, you show up, and we'll take Relic Knights as an example.
Okay.
Well, no, Relic Knights is a terrible example.
Yeah.
we're gonna have to take Eldorado as an example, right? Because that's a common game between the two of us.
Yep.
Or even Saga. You know what? I know the people watching play Saga. That would be like taking, let's say, taking an army like like Vikings,
Okay.
and instead of or Anglo-Danes, and instead of cashing in on Dane axes for your points, you spend like 3 points on levies. You know, and why
Okay.
you do that? Because maybe you're a guy that's like, man, I really like levies, and I like I'm into this idea that my warlord is this wandering guy that sort of takes conscripts into his warband, and so a lot of his warband are just kind of trash troopers, right? So
Okay.
you made up your own backstory with it, and you're really into your warband. But the reality is, when you put it on a table, um, it's not a very efficient build, right? It's not a
Yeah.
very three units of levies. It for one's not generating Saga dice, and they're difficult to activate, and they don't net a lot of attacks, and they have terrible stats. So by most standards, people are going to say that's not an efficient build. But I guess what I'm saying is you can get bullied for shit like that. You know,
Yes.
it's been my experience that you show up at a store and somebody doesn't like your build, and they look at your army, and I'm not just talking about Saga, I'm just using it as an example, but say War Machine, you
Yep.
show
I
up
get
and you're
you.
like, oh, I'm taking this fun list that's mostly pirates um, and and jacks, and people say that I'm not supposed to be taking a lot of jacks with this particular caster. You can get a fair amount of browbeating over something like that. Am I right?
Yes, you are. And
Do you have any?
that's kind of one of the reasons why I got out of War Machine is because it got extremely competitive. Um, and I got told what I was playing wasn't competitive. They're like, why are you playing
Mm-hmm.
it? Well, I like the models. I don't care if they're competitive. I'm not playing a tournament. I'm just playing because I like the game. But it
Right.
got to the point where people were like, you should put this with this and this with this because it's going to make your army that much better. And I'm like, well, that's cool, but I like what I have. Um,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I know a
like
lot of the
this
guys,
model
and
because.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know a lot of the guys,
Okay.
and
All
I
right.
understand what they're trying to say, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's like I like what I have.
Sure.
I'm just gonna keep what I got, and I'm sorry, it's not the best list, but it's what I got, and it's what I enjoy.
Okay. So, wouldn't okay? So, in my opinion, um, that situation is analogous to the paint snob situation,
Yes.
right? People are going to show up and criticize you for painting or not painting. That's just as shitty as somebody criticizing you for not taking an efficient build or whatever, right?
Yep.
And frankly, I found that a lot of people that are quick to criticize somebody for, oh, how dare you tell us to paint? You're full of shit. You can't tell me what to do. Are the same guys that are browbeating people for not taking more efficient or competitive builds. I've
Yeah.
seen some overlap, is what I'm saying, and it's
Yeah.
super hypocritical. It's super hypocritical. Um, so I don't know. You have an opinion there, or am I making this up?
No, I know. I don't think so at all. Um, I it's weird. It's a tough situation to kind of like talk about. Because it's just
Mm-hmm.
like you just know the people that are doing it, and you don't want to say who they are. But at the same time,
Yeah.
um, that are like that. If they want to play competitive and they want to tell me what's best, I mean that's cool. Thanks, I appreciate it. But for
Yeah.
someone just to be like, why do you play that? Just because it's not competitive? I have it because I have it. That's the reason why.
Yeah. I just think it's silly that it's to me it's a both or neither situation. Either either people can tell you, hey, you should be painting your shit, and hey, that unit's not very good. You should take this unit, or people should just leave each other alone and be like, oh, you enjoy that unit. Well, it's not very good, but let's play it. Or, hey, you didn't paint your stuff. So what? Let's put our models down and let's enjoy a game together. That's just
Yeah.
my opinion on it. I think I think it should be a both or neither type deal. And frankly, I think it should be neither. I don't think you should be, not unless somebody asks for help
Yes.
or advice, right? If
I
somebody
can.
says, and this happens a lot, people will show up at the store and say, hey, I don't paint, but I want to paint, or I want to learn how to paint. I don't know if painting's for me, but I want more information. You know what? Step up and give them information. If you're the guy that's big on trying to get people to paint, that's kind of what Play It Painting is all about. Like, I'm not going to say, hey, people should be painting their miniatures without putting my money on the table and saying I'm willing to help, or I'm willing to, you know, invest a little time helping people learn how to paint. Conversely, with the guys that tell people that they want people to play better or more competitively, well, you got to make yourself accessible. Anytime you want to see the gaming community do something, you're gonna have to pony up. You know, you're gonna have to put your own have to put your own money where your mouth is, and back it up, I guess. Make sense? No?
Yes.
Maybe?
I might be lagging on you a little bit. I don't know. I feel like I hear myself like 2 minutes later on your screen.
It might be because, I don't know. It's no news to anybody who watches this show that I have ISP problems whenever I stream.
It could be me as well.
But
I got something to show you real quick. Sarah.
Sure, yeah.
So I'm showing you her model. So she's been working. Let's see.
Pan down just a little bit. There you go. Is that what Sarah painted?
Yep, she did this last Friday, and it came out really good.
And that's Chan Lee.
Yeah.
Nice. Man, I gotta just stop and say, I miss Eldorado. I miss it. Love the game.
Yeah.
Looking forward. I think I'm gonna be able to maybe catch a game with Mark this weekend at Strategicon, so I'm super looking forward to that. Might be able to squeeze in a game before my Relic Knights tournament. So I'm gonna pack one set of Eldorado to come with me. But yeah. So that's cool. So Sarah's continuing to paint, which is awesome.
Yeah. She even says, "Hey, can you prime these models so I can keep them?"
Very cool. All right, so again, to our viewers, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. And when I say you should be painting, don't take me that literally. I'm just being, you know, everybody I talk to says, hey, I should paint this. I should really do that. That's all I'm getting at. I'm not saying paint or else we're not friends anymore. I'm not saying anything like that. Relax. You know, and this show is another thing that I hope, like one of my main goals for this show is just to help motivate people to paint and provide an opportunity for them to paint. You know, people, it's kind of like exercise, right? And I'm going to talk about this because I don't exercise. So so here's poser in action right here. So it's kind of like exercise. If you want to exercise, one of the best motivators for exercise is to get a partner, right? Is to have somebody to help you to kind of get your ass out of bed and you know, get you up and running, or you know, lifting or whatever it is that you want to do for exercise. And it's the same with, in my opinion, it's similar with painting. When my brother and I first started in the hobby, we painted. And we painted together. We painted, the two of us, and we painted with our friends. And we all sat in the shack behind my parents' house, and we broke out our community paints, which were all in just various states of horrible, because people would fucking leave the caps off and all that stuff. But it was really cool to have people there and painting with you and just shooting the shit. And painting becomes a very social, very enjoyable experience. And it's something else that you're doing socially with your friends when you guys aren't trying to blow each other up on the battlefield. Similarly, this show tries to attempt the same type of thing. You know, we have a regular group of viewers. It's not a large group of viewers. It's a regular group of viewers that tune in, and they tell us, "Hey, I'm working on this." Like Justin tonight, he's not working on anything. He says he's writing some posts on a local gaming forum, but he's got some bolt action Americans on his table. So, but I guess what I'm getting at is it's a regular thing. People know, okay, once a week, Play It Painting Live comes on, and if I'm around, I may break out some models and paint with those guys. And I think that's awesome. To me, that's a win. If we have one guy doing that every week, then I feel like this show's worth keeping on air. And so that's one of the main reasons why we do this show. So, it's stuff like that that I think if we want to encourage people to paint, and I think that's really where the heart of the matter is. Encouraging people to paint, that means providing opportunities for them to paint. That means giving them incentives for painting. Like best painted awards at organized play. It also means kind of going after some of these issues that occur around people that are trying to paint. Like you said, people that might be browbeating you. Either way, either for painting or not painting. I think browbeating is just kind of bad. So I don't know. Just rambling now.
That's fine.
That's okay. That's okay because I've got my compressor kicking on every 3 seconds, and hopefully it's drowning out a lot of this stuff.
Nope, not at all.
See, I mean, even in your case, your wife is picking up a brush and she's painting. Would you say that she enjoys painting?
I don't know. I can ask her.
I mean, I have a hard time believing that she would pick up a brush and paint a model that you guys haven't been playing because she didn't like painting. It seems to me like she might enjoy some aspects of painting.
I think it gives her something to do, to be honest.
What's that?
It gives her something to do, I think.
There you go.
Because when we go to the game store, usually, recently it's been the Dragon Ball League, so she's been going with me just to go. But then she sits there and does nothing the entire night. So I was like, well, I'll bring the models and you can paint something. So we ended up playing a game, and then, I was like, hey, I've got to get in this game. Do you want to paint? And just give her something to do.
That's cool.
I don't know if it's out of boredom or not, or just be telling her, hey, do this. Which I'm not, but I don't think she minds it.
Okay. But maybe, I don't know, there might be some part of her that enjoys that, and that's kind of cool.
You just told me I have to get her Relic Night stuff primed so she can paint that now, too.
I mean, she could be doing, if she didn't enjoy it, she could be doing something else, right? She could be reading a book, or she could be maybe playing a board game with somebody. I mean, there's other options. So, I don't know, I think maybe she enjoys it. I would be inclined to think that she does.
Well, she just told me she wants to paint her Relic Night stuff, so I gotta get that for her.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome. So is she really, would you say she's really enjoying Relic Nights, or?
I would say yes.
That's cool, man. That's great. So, what does she play? What faction does she play in Relic Knights?
She's getting into the No.
Oh, No Empire. Okay.
Yep.
That might be the only faction that I don't, even though I don't find particularly fitting for me.
Yeah.
I mean, they have some really cool models and everything.
Because they're big and buffy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They're fun. I think they're fun. They're just not my. I think of the 6 factions, they're not really one of the ones that really grabs me.
Yeah.
And are you are you still playing Corsairs like heavy, or are you into another faction?
I kind of just play whatever. If someone want to play this, I go, sure, I'll play this. Um,
Hmm.
right now, I'm just waiting to get my Shattered Sword stuff, which I'm going to be getting this weekend. So that's what I really
Okay.
want to play. But yeah, I just play whatever.
Yeah.
If Sarah will say, hey, let me play this, and I'll go, sure, let me play this. Or I haven't played this yet, let me try this. So it just kind of flips around with whatever I feel on at the time.
Okay. So Shattered Sword. Is there anything else that really grabs you for factions?
Um, I've been playing Doctrine a little bit, and they're actually kind of fun. Um,
Yeah.
I don't mind them at all. Seeing as I'm a
Okay.
big cat person, you know, their big night is cat, so mine as well.
Hmm. Yeah, Doctrine's a lot of fun. I generally run demos with Doctrine because
Yeah,
they're they're a very appealing faction for
yeah.
people.
They're very. It's easy to understand too, which is great. They're not very challenging to kind of understand how they work.
Hmm. For me, right now, I would say the two main factions that appeal to me are uh, Cersei Speed Circuit and Shattered Sword. So I like the
Okay.
super fast faction and I like the super slow one.
Yeah, I played the Speed Circuit my first game with all my friends I had and stuff.
Hmm.
They were really squishy. Granted, I mean, it was our first game and stuff, but they felt so squishy. I was like, I don't know.
Okay, so some more YouTube comments came in. That might just be my lag. Ghost Bear One says, "I'm painting more Yams Vikings, all boots, all the time." Yeah, Jeremy, you were showing some of that on SoCal Tabletop. I think it's fantastic, man. And I didn't even know that you only started painting back in February, which is incredible. I mean, given the quality stuff that you're putting out, that's amazing. And then we got Minutes on the Sun. What's up? I didn't see this until my subs until 118 into the show. I forgot it was 9 and I forgot it's Wednesday. Don't worry about it, man. We're still getting used to the new night here in the same time. So um, I'm wondering when my Australian guys are going to come over to Wednesday nights, or maybe Wednesday nights is tough in Australia. I don't know. We got to ask Canvas and Shaper and Viv and those guys and say, hey, what's up? Because I haven't seen those guys in the comments since we moved to Wednesday. Or maybe they just hate my show now. Who knows? I hate his show. I don't know. We'll see. Um, so, yeah, man. I played Cersei last night um, with my friend Andrew. And the funny thing is, we were playing a short game, so we were only playing to 6. And I had Preservation of Life as my secondary objective. So secondary objectives are worth 3 points. And so I had Defensive Life. He picked my pit crew,
Oh,
to try to make it to the opposite board edge. And so I'm running across the board edge. One, Malia has a feint as a cager ability, which is amazing. So it makes even your foot troopers like super super fast. So I get over there, and he's like, "Oh wait, you're trying to drop something on the table edge," and I make it to the table edge, and then he shoots the pit crew, and he kills the model, and she drops the token right on the board edge, which is hilarious. So it's 3 points for me, but it's worse than that because their faction scenario
yep.
lap time says that they get another 2 points for finishing a non-destructive objective scenario um, before
Before
you
someone
cycle
runs out.
your deck. So by him killing my pit crew, he actually helped me score 5 of my points, 5 of my 6 points,
Huh.
which is pretty funny.
You will never make
So
that mistake again.
yeah, so that's the funny. I mean, Cersei they have a stupidly easy faction scenario to complete, but um, but there's like you said, they're kind of pillow-fisted, and they're all about speed. And if you can't maneuver around people, you're going to have a bad time with them.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. I had fun with them this week. I'm looking forward to playing them some more. I'm going to play now. A couple of guys in our group really like Cersei, notably Mark and Kevin. They both really like Cersei. So when I'm playing against those guys, I'm going to have to play super, super slow. So I'm going to play these guys, Shattered Sword, who I really like I like the knight aesthetic to them, and I find the slow tanky playstyle difficult for me because it just doesn't fit my preference. And when it doesn't fit my preference like that, that makes me want to play them even more.
Yeah.
Because it's like forcing me outside of my comfort zone. So I want to, I don't know, I want to explore that a little bit. So what have you tried so far in the game?
What do you mean?
Like, which factions have you tried? Or
I've only tried the 3. The Corsairs, the Doctrine, and then the Cersei. But Cersei I only played once, and that was just the base box set.
Okay.
I haven't played Ceres, no Empire yet, but that's okay. I don't want to. That's her thing, so she can do it.
Okay.
But so far, just those 3. I think the game is so interesting. I don't even know if I can get into it right now. I'll probably take us all night, like last time.
Wait, I
just
missed
like
that last part.
Like how we were talking about the game last time about how different every faction is.
Yeah.
That just blows my mind. It's like a lot of other games. Just this game, I feel like it's a lot more prevalent in differences.
Okay, so the differences are much more they're much more apparent.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't mind that.
Yeah, the playstyles are they do swing pretty wide there.
And for the most part, I think a lot of things are pretty balanced. I mean, just from what I've played, I haven't played a lot of different people. I've only played maybe 4 different opponents. But I feel like each of the armies is fairly well balanced as far as points and what they can do. Of course, some stuff is overpowering just because it's their first run at the game. But for the most part, I don't have a problem with anything being too ridiculous.
Yeah, there's stuff that seems ridiculous, but I personally don't know that I know enough about the game to call something broken yet.
Yeah.
There's some stuff for sure that, like, oh wait, Cersei has this really stupidly easy faction scenario, which sounds crazy, but is that broken, or is it really okay because they can't complete? For example, they're going to have a really, really hard time doing killing scenarios because they're just not built for it.
Yeah. I think what kind of balances it right there for them is because you think about it, what if they get to the destruction scenario where they have to destroy 2 secondaries that are primary? Well, I'll tell you what, by the time you get there, your mouths are most likely going to be gone because they're so squishy. Granted, they can get there probably in like 2 turns or 2 activations, but
yeah. That is true. They will get there in like 2 activations.
Good luck keeping them there. That's just my thought on it.
I'm looking forward to trying out Suicide Queen, because right now most people playing Cersei are playing they're playing Malia, or they're playing Marie Claude. I haven't seen a whole lot happening with Suicide Queen, and from what I can tell, she kind of plays more like a Corsair character, which is interesting.
Okay.
Corsairs is the only faction to date that I have not played. I have Corsair models, but I don't have a knight for Corsair. So I'm going to pick up a Calico Cade at some point, paint one up, and just so I've got all the major relic knights. And
I do like the Calico Cade box set though, because she comes with 2 different options, different poses.
Yeah, I saw that. That looks cool. Which did you pose yours? Which pose did you pick for yours?
I haven't decided yet.
Oh, you haven't decided yet. Okay.
I've got the knight already set up, or the I don't know what the heck to call it. She's not on it yet, but I've got the entire thing built except for her.
That's
Um,
cool. So check it out. When I do get Calico Kate, because she has two poses, I'm considering dropping one on top of this because I've got an extra bike that doesn't have a rider. I think she'd look kind of cool. One or the other pose is going to look, I think, will look cool on there. I just don't know. Without having the model in front of me, I don't know which one that would be.
So one of them, she's actually looks like she's like controlling the model,
Yeah.
and the other one she's kind of standing on its hand.
Okay.
So there's one where she's actually like literally bent over, like driving it. Another one she's standing there, like in its hand and on top of its head. So you probably could get away with it if you do the model standing on its hand.
Well, that's cool. Interesting. All right. So I'm just doing the boring base stuff right now in this kind of generic gray that I do them. I don't have the most exciting base work on my Relic Knights because it's just the Kickstarter base stuff, but I throw a coat of paint on it and it looks okay. And I'm not picking up a brush tonight. I'm just doing the airbrush stuff. So sorry if my compressor is bothering people. This is the normal means by which I paint stuff, though. If I'm doing a lot of batch painting like I am tonight, I normally start once they're built and primed and all that. I'll block out the major colors with airbrush, and then the next day, then I'll come in and start hitting all the details, painting eyes and faces and, clothing and all that other stuff. For this set, the major details will be stuff like gold, the gold offset, the blue cloaks. Although I'm probably gonna, I will probably airbrush most of the cloaks too. In fact, that's why they're not attached, is so I can batch airbrush those, which should be fun. So Corey, regarding your demo day here,
Yes.
is it just Relic Knights, or are we going to have any other games? Are you going to have any other games at that time?
It's just gonna be Relic Knights. Maybe later on down the road, we'll do some just Ninja in general. But just for right now,
No, I'm asking about this particular event.
Oh, no, just Relic Knights.
Okay, that's good. So you just concentrate, just lock down one game system and get people behind that game system. That makes sense. I mean, that was part of the issue. Part of the issues I was having with, say, board game nights on Thursdays was, I was running SDE and I was running Eldorado and I was running Anima Tactics, and I would get like, 3 players for each system, and depending on the week, they may not be there, and then you have to run the other game, and you're trying to get a bunch of games started up at the same time is not wise. It's just not a good use of time.
My thought on it is, just get the word out there about this first. Get the interest, see who's interested, see if there's enough interest in it to even keep it going.
Sure.
And then if it picks up, great. I might just keep going with the Relic Knights for a couple months, and then just introduce an entire Ninja Day where we'll just bring all the new stuff we have, set it up, see if which is one big group thing, or maybe have you set up maybe some Super Dungeon Explorer, have someone else do some Eldorado, someone else do some Relic Knights. Anno Tactics,
Mm-hmm.
and then just do like a whole like here's a bunch of offers, see what interest there is for those, and then
That would be interesting.
yeah, it might be challenging, of course, but my goal, if I get more than Relic Knights started, is just like maybe every other week, do Relic Knights, and next week do something else. Or if there's more interest in Relic Knights, then there might be, let's say, in Anima Tactics. Maybe Anima Tactics I'll do once a
Yeah,
month, and then the other 3 weeks will just be Relic Knights.
that would be kind of cool. I mean, that's that is kind of a long-term goal to be able to have different games going. But I think leading in, we're going to want to pick the one game, and I think Relic Knights makes the most sense because that's what people have rallied around
Yeah,
most recently. Although you could make the case for Eldorado. It's just
yeah,
Eldorado was we kind of got a little sidetracked after Comic Con because of all the Relic Knights stuff coming out. But I don't think that's a bad thing. Me personally, I just missed the game. I want to looking forward to getting back out and playing another game of Eldorado.
and also it makes it a little easier on the volunteers as well. I mean, like you said, if you're running like 3 different types of games in one night, if not everyone
Mm-hmm.
knows like all the rules or just the basic stuff, you're having 3 different
Right.
games running through your head at one time. And I mean, I can't physically, I know I can't do that. Um, Knowing all like the 15 different games that I have going on at one time, I can barely keep the rules straight between all of them. So
Yeah, I think the closest I ever got to that was at I guess this was Comic Con. Yeah, it was Comic Con. I was running a uh, I was running a Eldorado demo and supporting the SDE guys behind me with rule stuff. So
yeah,
trying to keep those straight was a challenge.
yeah. I mean, kind of like what we do at conventions, where like you were running no, your brother was running SDE, and then you were doing Anima Tactics. Now it's doing Eldorado. So it's not you trying to teach 3 different games at once. It makes it a lot easier
Yeah,
on everybody. Just that way. Just like, hey, this
it's
week we're
nice to
doing.
be able to cover people. I mean, for our convention show, um, we were having the people that were newer to the team. We were having them kind of focus in on SDE because that's one of the ones that everybody tends to carry, and so anyone can relieve anyone else at any time. But yeah, moving forward, be great to be able to offer a show and have multiple systems going at the same time.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm looking
Okay.
forward to the next convention that I can go to.
What's that?
I'm looking forward to the next convention I can go to.
Yeah, I take it you're not going to Gateway this weekend, right? You're not going to
Uh,
Strategicon.
no, we're not. Didn't really have a lot of the money that we needed to stay up there. Seeing this is a
Sure.
long drive for us. Um,
Yeah.
we would stay in a hotel, and the money's not there for us right now. So we're going up to do some SBA stuff actually instead. Um,
Okay.
so we're going up to Vic for Island Wars,
That
and
should
we're
be fun.
we're gonna check it out. We've never done anything like this, so just trying to broaden our horizons a little bit, see what else is out in the world.
Yeah, that sounds like fun, man. Cool. Yeah. I I was originally planning on being at Strategicon for a couple of days, but a similar situation. I need to be close to home with close to my wife and my kid, and so
Yeah,
I so this time out, I'm only going to be there for a day. In fact, the Strategicon moving forward, it's going to be difficult for me to do multiple days. Not just Strategicon, actually. Most of the cons going to be difficult for me to do multiple days because um, it's just in terms of my priorities these days. the kid comes first, and his mom is entitled to time off on the weekends just as much as I am. So, I'm looking at doing mostly Tuesdays for my gaming, and then maybe once a month break out and do an event, like go to your event for September. And then for October, I'm planning on throwing my own event. Wow, that was weird. Oh, what's going on? Let's change
I
the
don't know,
camera.
but you're back.
There we go. And let's make sure. Go. There we go. Yeah, that was weird. This thing is just deciding to move me in and out of my camera mode and put me on mute, and I don't know.
I have a quick painting.
Let me reload comments here to see if we have any other comments as we are progressing. Okay. No, so far no other comments, but comments come in kind of weird. They sometimes you'll get big blocks of them. Sometimes you won't see anything, and then you'll see a wave of comments all come in at the same time. Wow, having a hell of a time here with some tip dry, some clogging. I hate that. But that's airbrush for you. Uh-oh.
I have a painting question for you real quick.
Sure.
Alright, so I just did this gold here.
Okay.
On this big guy here. I'm going to put a wash on the gold, I think. So the washes I have are a brown, a black, and then a flesh tone. What would you recommend out of those three?
What brand is the flesh tone?
It's Citadel. Citadel. It's the Reikland flesh shade.
Okay, so they're Reichland flesh. That used to be Ogren flesh. Which
yeah, it's a red.
Yeah, it's like a red color.
Yeah.
I was never, even though my default instinct would be to send you to that one, I don't think that particular shade of red is good for gold. So, what's the brown?
It's an Agric.
Oh, Agric's Earthshade. Yeah. Actually, between those two, it'd be nice if you may consider mixing them.
Okay. I can do that.
Because yeah, neither one of those, in my opinion, neither one of those are great shades for gold. Maybe, if anything, the flesh tone is a little bit better, but.
So you're thinking like a 50-50 mix, or?
Yeah, I would just do like a 50-50 mix, and you're trying to get to like a sepia tone.
Okay.
The sepia tone is fantastic for gold, but and the sepia tone would be like midway between those two shades.
Okay, I'll see what I can do here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
No problem. I hope it works out.
Yeah, me too.
Still getting some crazy tip dry here. So, but it happens. I mean, I think we've got the fan on, and so that's normal. That's a normal thing. So fairly quiet evening, and I think the end of our year here should be fairly quiet. I mean, I expect that we'll be playing more Relic Knights. I'm hoping Arena Rex shows up for the end of the year, but you never can tell with Kickstarter. But that would be a cool way to end the year. Get Arena Rex for, say, Christmas, and start playing that too.
I would agree.
Oh man, that should be a really. I'm really looking forward to that.
Are you
And
playing?
it looks like I'm sorry.
Have you been playing any of the playtests?
No, I haven't. I played. We played. A group of us played some early stuff, but I haven't touched it since. I haven't touched it since maybe last. I want to say last February or last March. So that's been a
Yeah.
way. It was a long time ago. We were looking at it.
Yes, sir, and I've been playing a little bit here and there.
Okay.
Uh, we both love the game.
Yeah,
It's
I
a very
think it.
different mechanics too, which are really great, which is what I love about it. You can choose how much damage you want to do, or if you want to push the guy, if you want to run away from the guy.
Yeah, the
It's pretty cool
damage
with it.
tree is really nice. That's a really nice mechanic. You know,
Yeah,
that's even. I like the damage tree mechanic better than the Eldorado power table.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Power
you don't
tables for
really.
Eldorado are nice, but man, to be able to control your, you can literally dial in damage and you can balance damage against effects, right? So, you know, you can decide, oh, I want to do more damage in this hit, or I can decide I want to do less damage, but I want to be able to stack a couple of effects onto this model. And
Yeah, I
that's
think it's completely different, and I really enjoy
yeah,
that with
same
it.
here. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's moving right along here. I think this is too white. Let's try this. No, that's too yellow. It's always interesting. Let me reload comments here, see if we've got anything else going on. Okay. Cameron posted that he looks like he was working on some Menoth. I can see from the shoulder pads. I can't really make out. I don't know enough about War Machine to be able to tell you which models they are, but it looks like Menoth to me. And Jeremy is painting his fingers. So there you go. Cool. All right. So, oh, a little too much white there, but that's okay. We got. It's one of the downsides to this is sometimes. There we go. That's better. Sometimes your spray is just a little dangerous. And you get it on the wrong parts of the model. That's when airbrush sucks. You get to a part where that's very difficult to fix. There we go. Seems to be okay so far, though. Still... Oh, wow. That was not good. Okay. Time to switch colors, because this white is not behaving. Not behaving at all, really. So yeah, the first night's generally this, and it's nice because the next night when I come back in, most of the colors are blocked out for me, and I know where to go, and you can see your model getting much closer to completion, which is always exciting. In general, there's some stuff to Shattered Sword miniatures that I don't care about. There's some mold lines that you have to clean up. That's always kind of a pain. I don't care for the Purifier models in this range. They're just not the greatest. But there's a lot of stuff in this range that I really like. For example, the Relic Knight I really like. Sebastian Cross, love that model. Also love the Dark Space Fiametta. Paragons are really nice models. And as you can see, they paint up in a flash. Haven't been able to play Francis Mallory yet, but looking forward to that. Yeah, about it, man. Good, good looking, good looking faction. I like the playstyle. Hopefully, it likes me.
That's always the question.
Mm-hmm. Well, it reminds me when when I was playing Malifaux. I played Ramos, and I loved Ramos, but I sucked at that playstyle starting up. I mean, I just didn't. I didn't get it because it was slow. It seemed slow. It seemed kind of tanky, and you just really gotta kind of have to play to a different style than I'm used to. But once I got Ramos, then it was like, okay, I love this master. I think it's fantastic, and then really got behind it at that point. Okay,
That
so far,
that wash mix came out pretty good. I like it.
yeah, nice,
Yeah, it came out pretty good.
cool. All right, we are coming up on the 2-hour mark, but we're gonna keep going for just a little bit because we did have a late start. I think, as far as blocking colors for tonight, I'm just about done. I do have to. Actually, you know what? There is something I need to do here before we call it. I'm gonna get all these models off because I need to spray the cloaks down while I've got the airbrush set up. So let's do that. I'm going to do the cloaks in kind of a midnight blue. So I've got like all these knights are kind of a bone white color, which when I explained it to Yuya what I'm doing, he was like, I don't know if that's going to look good. But I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. We'll see. All right. Just a really cool faction. Yeah, so I'm going to go with a bone white for the primary color, and then so it's going to be similar to the studio colors, except instead of a pure white, I'm kind of in a bone white.
Oh crap!
That bad, huh?
Yeah, I just hit my paintbrush straight across the model.
Oh, oops. All right. So let's put all these here. So I got to get all these off, and I put all these cloaks down. Put the cloaks down inside or bottom facing up, and I'm going to give them a base coat of, I think it's called Regal Blood. So it's a blue. It's a deep blue. So let's do it. Let me reload comments before I do it. Dive down here and just see if anybody else has anything else to add to our conversation. Currently, no. Okay. Royal Blood, yes. Here's the color. So this is Minotaur Royal Blood. And you got to be careful with these deep colors in the airbrush, because if you lay them on too heavy at once, then you run the risk of building a sheen, and that's the last thing you really want. You don't want this stuff to look shiny. It's supposed to be cloth. It's not looking too hot. There we go. That's better. So like that. I guess I could have done this tomorrow, but I figure got it out. Let's just do it. So, Corey, what is the next? Do you know the next con you're going to be going to?
I have no idea. It's going to be awesome.
Okay, I would agree with that.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know a lot of the conventions, and this is actually the first time I've actually ever really gotten into going to conventions. So, the first one I've ever been to was the WonderCon.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So, yeah.
So you really only been going to conventions this past year.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
Pretty much whatever comes my way and they say, hey, we need some help, I say, if I got the money, I'll be there.
Nice. Wow. That did not atomize very well. You can see it's shiny there on the bottom. It's screwed up. That's okay. I can fix it. There we go. Okay. All right, well, we are at the end of our 2 hours, folks. I'm going to reload comments one last time. Once again, I want to thank everybody for hopping on and watching. Anything else? Let me check. Still gonna spit out. But yeah, good conversation tonight. I thought there was some insight as far as the article that I posted. I want to thank the people on SoCal Tabletop for participating in that because you know, even though there were some differing viewpoints there, I still felt that everybody kept it civil, which was awesome. You know, might have been some subtle trolling going on, but nothing horrible there. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone for watching. We're going to go ahead and end the broadcast at this point. Corey, you have anything else to add here before we shut down?
Just feel free to stop by for the demo day.
That's right. Demo day. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and we are going to catch you on the next one.